Continuing on talking about education. What I'm going to talk about in this video is what parents need to do. You really can't rely, if you have your kids in public schools, really, you can't expect them to do everything. Public school can only do but so much. They can only give you the background, but you're going to have to step in. And in the African American community, a lot of parents aren't really doing what they need to do. Um, and that's showing up in our graduation rates and our dropout rates. I mean, here in New York City, it's up to 75% with the dropout rate. It's pretty bad, especially among African American males. We really need to do something we really have to do more and a lot more. African Americans, we need to understand that we need to promote reading. Because if you don't read in front of your kids, they don't learn that reading is important. It is paramount that we start taking our education in our own hands, or else our kids aren't going to be graduating, because you cannot rely on the school to do things for you. Too many people, what they do is they think the school is supposed to do everything, especially people, single mothers, female-headed households, or they think that the school is just there to help him become the next NBA superstar, because they think that that's going to get you somewhere. But you really need a strong academic background for yourself, because the academic skills you have that you gain are going to help you in the future. And part of getting the academic background is learning on your own. You really have to focus on developing your own, taking your education in your own hands. And that means reading on your own, studying subjects on your own, and doing things on your own. I mean, in this information age, the internet, information is there for you to take advantage of. You can capitalize on the opportunity to learn and reinforce what you've learned in the classroom by doing other things, other extra research on subjects and stuff. I mean, back in the day when we didn't have the internet, when I was a kid, I would read on my own. I would read comic books, magazines, newspapers, all of that. It helps you build up your vocabulary, it helps you build up your writing skills, and it helps you build up your ability to speak and communicate effectively. And the more you read, the smarter you will become. I understand this. I've been reading for years, and what it does is that it helps you gain the ability to get new words, the ability to understand things a little bit better, and to be able to articulate thoughts into things like essays, and it helps you develop your critical thinking too, because you learn how to break down information, dissect information, and you really take it apart piece by piece and then rebuild that information to create new knowledge. And when you sit there and you don't do these things, you wind up getting stuck. And what happens to a lot of African Americans is that they get stuck academically because they don't do the extra work that's needed to be done. They just sit up in front of a computer, or not even a computer, they sit up in front of a television, because a lot of African Americans that I know in the inner city, they don't own computers. They go out and buy a big screen TV instead of buying a computer. A computer is a tool that can help your kids get to the next level, and you really have to buy the right tools, and you also have to learn how to read and keep reading, because big mistake a lot of black people make is that during the summertime they don't reinforce what they learn, and then they fall back. And you really don't want to fall back, because that can be the difference between graduating on time and not graduating at all. So if you're in the summer and during the summertime, you really have to be reading a lot, and you also have to be studying different subjects like history and art and science, and all that's gonna help you get to the next level in school. And you really have to build that foundation in school, the academic excellence, to get to the next level. The more you know starting early on, the better off you'll be. I mean, I didn't learn this until I was about 16 years old in high school, that I had to take my education into my own hands. At that time, I was in high school. They were gonna write me off, because they were saying that because my credits were messed up and all that stuff. And I said I had to take my education into my own hands if I wanted to graduate. And when I started taking my education in my own hands, I managed to get my credits right. I actually changed schools, and when I changed schools, I got my credits right. I got my grades up, and by the time I had made the honor roll, and I had made it to the next, and I did very well. I went from a struggling student up to being a almost straight A student, with the exception of math. But that was because I had a bad middle school background, and they never taught me algebra. But that's again, that was my fault. I should have taken my education in my own hands earlier if I had known better. But I didn't know. But I had known that they were going to put me on the track to. They had just given up and said this guy's going to drop out. But I said to myself, I don't want to drop out. So the main reason why I didn't want to drop out, I wanted the diploma, but I was just tired of that toxic, dysfunctional environment. And another part of taking your education in your own hands is that you're going to have to start, if you have kids, your kids are going to have to learn how to pick and choose who they get involved with, because there are a lot of dysfunctional people in your, especially in a public school, a lot of dysfunctional people. And if you don't know how to pick and choose who to be around, or who to be involved with, or who to deal with, or you will get messed up, because some people are, as I see, on a trajectory to becoming a baby mama, or they're on a trajectory to prison. And if you don't know how to differentiate between the people who are on this road and on the people who are on the road to college, you're going to get messed up. So that's another part of the component of taking your education into your own hands. Um, you can't sit there and expect the school to do it. You can't expect guidance counselors to do it. The main person who's responsible for your child's education is you and your child. If you're a parent, you're responsible, and if you're a child, you're the one responsible for the education that you receive. You're only going to get what you put in, and if you put in the minimum, you're not going to get you're all you're going to get is the minimum. But if you put in the maximum, you're going to get the maximum result. It's just like a guy working out. The guy who goes to the gym and puts in the hours and the time, he's going to have the six pack, and the guy who just puts in a couple of 15 minutes, he's not going to get much. But the guy who puts in the hours, he puts in the hours at the gym, he eats right, he's going to do fine. But the guy who just comes in for 15 minutes, works on a stationary bike, and then goes back to the Dunkin' Donuts, he's gonna be sitting there wondering, why am I still fat? And that's the same thing in school. What you put in is what you're gonna get out, and that's what main reason why you have to um take your education in your own hands, because you want to get the most out of the experience. And the more you put in, the more you're gonna get out. Main and you really, when it comes to school, you have to look out for the all sorts of toxic people. You can be social, but always listen to what they're saying, and listen to how they're saying it. Because when you're a kid, you think the bad boys and the thugs or the hood rats, or their lives look exciting, but they're just dysfunction and chaos. There are a lot of talk, but there's nothing there. And if you're in that situation, you really need to focus on getting to the next level, which is getting out of that dysfunction. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.